Hi, I'm Marsh from StrataGames, and today we're playing some more Black Party Burn. This is a deck that I've brewed. I mean, Mono Black Burn is a deck that's been around for a little while. Not always the best deck in the Pauper format, but a deck that has existed, and I kind of took it and made this party version that I really like. And I've gotten some decent results with. We have yet to trophy with it, but I've gotten a lot of 4-1s, which is kind of my brand anyway. So we're built around Malakir Blood Priest, which pings your opponent for up to 4 damage, where X is the number, where the damage is equal to your party size. It is a cleric. Black Mage's Rod makes a wizard for us. Vampire Lacerator is a warrior. And then Nightmarker Lookout and the back half of Okiba Reckoner Raid are both rogues, as well as playing 4 Changeling Outcasts, which can fit any of those roles. We also just have a bunch of direct burn spells with like Foul Tongue Shriek. It deals 1 damage for each attacking creature you control, and you gain that much life. We have Hopeless Nightmare, which pings for 2 and also makes your opponent discard a card to pressure their life total, and we'll often use it to scry 2 and set up our next draws. Of course, Black Mage's Rod pings whenever we cast spells. Tyrant's Choice is just the biggest burn spell we can have, 2 mana to deal 4. We play a couple Flywheel Racers because this card has been surprisingly good. It has a lot of synergy with the deck because it is a vehicle that can get Menace from the Nizumi Road Captain. It can allow you to tap your Lookouts to deal damage even without having to attack. And it can just make mana and has Vigilance, and it's just got a lot of bonuses there. Mutagenic Growth is a card that I've played quite a bit in this deck at this point and just think is pretty integral. Playing a 2/2 that immediately just gets blocked by like a Core Skyfisher is really bad unless you have a way to break through. So we're playing the growths for that. Our mana base is a bunch of Swamps, a couple Barren Moors to cycle, and a couple Festering Gulch to deal some damage, or if we really need, to hardcast a Mutagenic Growth. Sideboard is 3 Duress, a couple Extracted Confession, Trespasser's Curse, Suffocating Fumes, and Relic of Progenitus. So let's take this for a league and see how we do. Any tweaks to the main or side? I think this is pretty much the same list I played last time. There are definitely probably some changes that I would like to make to it, and frankly just haven't had the time / dedicated the time to make that happen. So I probably should next time because this is a deck I keep coming back to, and so I definitely would like to show off some different iterations of it. Thanks to Card Market for sponsoring this video. I've written a comprehensive guide on how to play White Weenie in Pauper, including my ideal stock list, over 30 sideboard matchups, and a sideboard cheat sheet, which gives you a very easy snapshot view and what to sideboard for every single matchup. I also have guides for Black Sack and Esper Affinity. Each guide is only $15, and if you buy one, you will get all future updates that I ever make to that guide for free. I also offer coaching, so if you're interested in upping your Pauper game for any of the decks that I'm very proficient in, or if you're interested in having me play your deck in a future video, you can do a deck donation, which is the only way you'll ever see me playing Cycle Storm or Flickertron. All right into match 1 here, and 4 lands is more than you want, but we do have a turn 1 on the play, 2/2, and then another 2/2. I think we're gonna keep it. It's like so close on the edge, like 3 lands would be okay, but 4 is definitely more than we want. But I just feel like on the play with such a fast start with the Lacerators, it feels pretty good. I don't know. They do have Percussionist, and against a burn deck, well, Swamp's no good. But against a burn deck, the life loss from the Lacerators can be a real downside. Here, we'll attack for 2. I'm going to play the Racer. It's more mana efficient and makes it so we don't take a damage to the Lacerator this time, and then it could be more damage next turn. There's a Tomb Raider. And another Tomb Raider. Well, unfortunately, we're just playing against the better version of our deck, which is the 2/2s have haste for 1 and also don't lose you life. We'll play Hopeless Nightmare, making them discard a card. Take 2. Play a Lacerator. I can crew this up, hit for 5, but then they're at 11, and we're taking another 5 plus 2. We can't really afford to slow down that much. I think I'm going to crew this and just attack with the Racer, and then like trade a Lacerator off, I guess. Kick a Bushwhacker. We'll block Tomb Raider here. We're going to sack the Hopeless Nightmare in our upkeep because we can still have 2 more mana to cast whatever we find. Foul Tongue Shriek and Nightmarket Lookout. We're going to keep the Nightmarket Lookout. I don't think the Shriek does quite enough. We do have a lot of life gain in the deck, so like theoretically, it can be an okay matchup if we get the right cards, but we just haven't really seen those. In fact, we've seen the cards that have damaged us. So I can crew the Racer here with this guy, which we do. We gain 1 here, and we get to hit for 3, and we stop losing life to the Lacerator, I guess. I mean, we're just dead to a couple burn spells, but we're hoping that those don't show up. There's a Lightning Bolt, which means the Racer can't get crewed now, which means I just die to just about anything with no blockers, Bushwhacker, and we are going to die to that. Trespasser's Curse in the side is phenomenal here. Yes, that is the good thing. We have a pretty decent side with both Trespasser's Curse and Suffocating Fumes. We can take out those Lacerators. Like, literally, this is something, this and the Mutagenics are what we don't want in this matchup, because they lose us a bunch of life. And that's exactly the play that we had. If we were against, like, some sort of control or combo deck, I think the 2 Lacerators at the beginning could have been pretty good, but, or even like a Jund or, you know, mid-range deck that has a bit of a slow start. Ugh, no 1-drop. Tyrant's Choice is just burn, so, like, we have a decent amount of burn in hand, but that's kind of it. And these don't gain us life. If they gained us 4, I would probably snap keep this. I think we got a mulligan, though. This is a 1-lander, and it's a tap land. It's an okay hand otherwise, but 1 land. We're going to go down to 5. Okay, I guess we'll keep. It's still a 1-lander. Outcast can't block. Tyrant's Choice is just damage. I want the cards that can, like, gain us some life or whatever, and we're just not finding them. There's a Percussionist. Tyrant's Choice. I guess we'll play a Nightmarker Lookout. Pass the turn. Searing Blaze to kill the Lookout. Swing for 1. We do get a Swamp, but now I get to play a Blood Priest for 1 damage, 1 life. Rally at the Hornburg. Swing for 3. And they just Chain Lightning our guy. Well, we'll Nightmare and Tyrant's Choice them, but I mean, I fully admit this is, like I said, this is just a bad matchup for us, but definitely also got some bad hands, and they've gotten some pretty decent starts. Burning Tree Emissary into Rally. There's no way we can deal 12 to them next turn. And we didn't see those Trespasser's Curses at all in our mulligans, unfortunately. All right. A quick loss, a bit unfortunate. See if we can do better in the next one. All right, this hand is okay. We're on the draw. It is the 2 Lacerators from before, but we at least have only 3 lands. If we're against red again, it'll be tough, but yeah, at least we have some more spells to actually deal with, or to work with. And there is a Mountain, and a Ginger Brute. I mean, I have not played that much Red Rally in any of my other leagues this week, so did not realize that it was going to be so prevalent now. So I guess we'll play a Lacerator, which is going to hurt ourselves against the burn deck. And they have a Rally. I mean, they can't attack without losing a guy, which is cool. They're going to swing just for 1 damage. Okay, can live with that. We do lose 1 to this, unfortunately. We get a Changeling Outcast. All right, we got a swing. We can play our 2 creatures. And the next turn we can Foul Tongue Shriek to gain 3 and deal 3, which is kind of cool. They don't have the best start, so maybe we can get there. Lacerator and an Outcast. Of course, Outcast can't block, so doesn't do much there, but there's a Tomb Raider and then a Bushwhacker. So that's 9 damage. I don't really want to trade anything with the Lacerator because I wanted it for the Foul Tongue Shriek, but it's probably worth trading for the Tomb Raider, especially because it loses an extra 1 if this is around. So by gaining 1, it doesn't matter that much. They still don't want to trade with the Ginger Brute, which is interesting. So it's only 4 damage, I guess. All right. I'm happy for them to do that. I'll take 1 here. Just so many lands. But then we mulliganed a million times because we had no lands, so it's a bit unfortunate. I'm going to attack with both because I want to Foul Tongue Shriek for at least 2. 2 is not particularly great, but it's what we got. It just seems unlikely we'll get many more creatures. Plus, by doing this, and then the Tyrant's Choice, I'm not going to lose life to the Lacerator this turn, which is important. Experimental Synthesizer. It's an Epicure. And another Ginger Brute. They swing for 4. If we draw the perfect cards, we might be able to get there. But if we don't, like if we draw a bunch of swamps, we're going to die, obviously. Another Outcast is not great. Can't block. Lacerator. Let's see. I can attack for 3. They go to 6. Which means, assuming they don't jump with the Epicure, which means that if I get another Tyrant's Choice, I can kill for 4 with the Outcasts, or a Blood Priest would also kill for 4 because I have a full party at that point. So I think it's worth attacking. Because it would deal 4, plus I could attack with the Outcasts, which are unblockable, is my point. They are hitting me for 5, so they have to draw 4 damage, which is a Galvanic Blast or a Bushwhacker, although Bushwhacker kills us either way. Yeah, so we're going to swing with both. I was thinking about leaving the Lacerator back. I don't think that's the play. They are going to chump, though. I guess they could gain life with a Gingerbread if they're actually worried about it, but we'll see what they get. Just a land, so they're probably going to crack the Synth. No, they're going to crack the Gingerbread? Oh my gosh, that's crazy proactive. That's why they didn't want to use the Gingerbread before. I mean, it does throw off our math, and we're at 6. It's just insane to me. Oh, it also makes me lose one from the Lacerator. That's pretty funny. Well, I'm going to Gulch to hit him for 1, and I think I have to attack with everything again. I could leave back the Lacerator. They could just sack the Brood again, though, which means I would go to 3, probably dead to a Bolt, which means I don't have them dead next turn, even if I hit for 2 extra, so I think I leave back the Lacerator. I've never seen a Red Rally player so willing to realize this can gain them life, so it's shocking to me. Crack a Synth, finds a Mountain. I mean, Malakir Blood Priest is still our best draw and has been for a couple turns because not only does it deal them 4, but it gains us 4. Oh, they just have a Bolt? Why are they... They could literally kill us. They could attack, I block 1, and then they just bolt us. But they're instead killing our 2/2. Which, hey, if we can draw some Blood Priests and actually stay alive, could be good for us. I think that's the only thing that keeps us alive here, though. They are passing. We get a Swamp. Okay, well, we're dead. We started with 3 lands and we drew 4. That's a bit unfortunate. And once again, we got Lacerators against a burn deck. Let's make that swap again and see if we can actually get a curse on them early. That would be a game changer. It would be restricted in Commander for sure if we could do that. All right. We finally have some ways to gain life and a good amount of lands. So we're going to keep this one. I could Gulch and then play a 2-drop, but I think it makes the most sense to just start with a Raid because these take 2 turns to become creatures. So let's just get one of them going, and then next turn I can get the other one going. There's a Percussionist. Hits for 1. Hit him for 1 again. We get a Fumes, which could be decent. We'll Gulch, which hits them for 1, then Raid again. Lots of little pings. They have a Rally. Swing for 3. If we get a Swamp, then I can just hold up Fumes, which would honestly be okay this time. Don't hate drawing a 3rd Swamp, just it's the 6th that I'm not a big fan of. We do get there. Because alternatively, I could just play like a Flywheel Racer, and that's about it. But this is already 3 1/1s, and like I just think I'd rather have it up now in case they get like a Bushwhacker or something. Could even go for a Bolt on the Road Captain just to get through with their team, and then we get to Fumes them. There's the Galvanic Blast. And the Bushwhacker. Perfect. I'm gonna wipe their board. There we go. They do get to Percussionist, gets a Bolt, which they can kill the Reckoner Raid because I can't stop that from flipping. But I'm gonna play a Racer, and we'll go for the Blood Priest, which can gain us 2 because this is a Rogue. We actually have a game where we're ahead here. Now, it's gonna be pretty reliant on top decks for if we can stay ahead, but for now we're in an okay spot. Percussionist, Bolt the Captain, and play an Epicure. Swing with the Percussionist. I'm not sure they realize I can just block here with the Racer, or they're okay with it, but I'm fine just turning the Percussionist immediately into a random card off the top. It's a Mountain. They Lightning Bolt us right now is interesting. All right, Night Market Lookout would be a good draw. Land is not the best, but we'll crew up the Racer. Swing for 3. I could just play the Tyrant's Choice because we have the mana, but we have so much mana that it makes sense to hold it for 2 reasons. One is the surprise factor. Right now they think they're at 10, which they technically are, but they're really at a virtual 6 because I could make them at 6 anytime, which means they might not realize how close to dead they are. But also if I get a Black Mage's Rod, the Tyrant's Choice can actually deal 1 more damage, so it's worth saving for that reason. If I only had 2 lands, I absolutely would just cast it, but since we have plenty of mana for anything we're going to draw, not really a reason to do so early. They're going to swing this time. I thought they might hold back the Gingerbread to chump and sack for life since they were so ready to do that last time, but they are going for damage here. We have another Blood Priest, which they're both clerics, so this is only going to deal 1, but it lets me crew up the Racer and attack for 5 with these 2, which is actually 6 damage. So if they don't have a way to stop any of this, then with the Tyrant's Choice, we can actually win this turn. Assuming they don't have just like a Bolt or something like that. They do. Galvanic Blast on the Racer. That's pretty good. That racer was doing a lot of work for us. So they're at 7. Still no reason, I think, to do the Tyrant's Choice then. We have plenty of mana, and we want them to feel like they have more life than they really do. They sing with the Ginger Brute, wanting to trade the Epic Gear for one of these guys. Foul Tongue Shriek deals a damage for each attacking creature we control. So that should be lethal, assuming they don't have a way to kill one of our guys. Burn, but not the villain. Exactly. We're doing the underdog burn scenario. We are going to, if I Foul Tongue Shriek now, and in response they bolt this guy, then I'm going to deal them less damage. So I'm going to wait till we've dealt them damage, which means this is going to die and I'm going to deal less from the Shriek, but the 2 from this guy plus the Shriek for 1 and then the Tyrant's Choice will be lethal. So I just want to make sure that they're not going to kill off this other guy, or if they do, I can Shriek in response. So I'm going to put a stop at the end of combat here. So they're still technically attacking. I guess they could bolt it now, but then I've at least done the 2 damage to them, right? So it's still technically attacking, even though it's already dealt combat damage. All right, they go to 4, and then we Tyrant's Choice. You always choose Torture. Burn is never the villain. Well, okay. That's a little outrageous. So we got there once. Let's see if we can do it again. Lumi, you did miss us playing your Turbo Terror list a little bit earlier, which was pretty fun for the first couple leagues, or first couple matches. And then I had to mulligan to 2 because I had 5 Zero-landers in a row. And that was a little rough, I must say. They have a Tomb Raider. Really? Would have liked to see it. Yeah, unfortunate timing. Of course, it'll be up on the channel probably tomorrow because I've been slacking. So I don't have it planned for a few days out. It'll probably go up right away. But it worked pretty good for me. No, no, I know. I saw all of your challenge victories and stuff. So it did well for me in a couple games. It was just a couple that it really didn't want me to draw any lands. But it's an interesting list for sure. I'll probably keep trying it out. All right, we got Changeling Outcasts. These can't block. I think I just want to go with the Reckoner Raid early here. Yeah, I guess Reckoner Raid triggers the Black Mage's Rod. So I've talked about this before with this deck, but it's all about sequencing. And it's like, oh, well, if I play this after these, it gets more damage. But also this is a creature, technically, or will turn into a creature, which means that playing it earlier means more damage because it can attack earlier and stuff like that. It is very tricky with the Ponders and Preordained choices. Yeah, there was definitely a little bit of that. In addition to that one where I mulliganed 5 times, we also had a game where I kept a 1-lander, but I had like 2 Preordains and on the draw, and we still didn't find a land until like turn 4. So that was tough as well. But they have Burning Tree into Rally, so that's pretty tough for us to deal with. We do have a Suffocating Fumes next turn if we're not dead already. We'll play Black Mage's Rod, which can trade with one of the 2/2s. And of course they have a Bushwhacker. I couldn't have waited one more turn for the Bushwhacker when we had the Fumes up. So we're taking 9 down to 5. We'll trade this with an Emissary. This flips. We're just going to pass and hope we don't get burned out. If they just play like another Bushwhacker or something, we have a Fumes. Although they already got by that once this league, so chances are it's not going to work again. Like them Bushwhackering. I mean, oh wait, never mind. It is going to work again. Paid Actor. Could be. I feel like most of my talks with my paid actors, I told them not to deal, me quite this much damage because I get a little nervous, but definitely could be. We still got to trade here, unfortunately, because I can't afford to go to 3. We could still die to burn, but 3 obviously is a little bit better. I think Hopeless Nightmare, they have so many cards it doesn't really matter if we make them discard 1. I'd rather have the creatures to block, and I want to get the Nightmarker Lookout down because it can gain life if it starts attacking. So we're going to do Black Mage's Rod and Lookout, hope we survive, and then maybe we can come back from there. Ginger Brute. None of our guys have haste, so they can get in for 1 if they want. Galvanic Blast, that guy. No attacks, though. Foul Tongue Shriek. I am going to attack. If they want to trade, I still gain 1 life. I'd rather they didn't block, because then we can get more off our Foul Tongue Shriek and just this guy later, but we'll see what happens. They don't block. Take 1. I'm going to Hopeless Nightmare to make him discard a card. Lose 2. I'm just going to double Changeling and hope we don't die. I could have Foul Tongue Shrieked for 1 to gain some life, which with a Fire Blast or some burn, like the 1 life could be relevant, but I think I'm willing to take the chance, and then if we can Foul Tongue Shriek for 3 here, plus the Lookout to gain 4, I think we'd be in a very good spot. But they could have Burning Tree Emissary is pretty good. If they have Rally, they were not dead, but we do take 5. They have Galvanic Blast for just 2 damage, though. Okay, so we're not dead. Activate Ginger Brute, which doesn't matter. Our guys can't block anyway. We get a Swamp. So this is going to gain us 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to go to 7. Which means a Bushwhacker would kill us if we don't have any blockers. But they can just freely block this if I don't equip a Rod to it. So I think I want to do that. We get in for more damage. Maybe they block. Seems unlikely. But if they don't draw like a Bushwhacker, of which we've already seen 2, then they shouldn't be able to kill us. Even a Rally or something wouldn't. We're hitting for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're hitting for a lot as well. Yep, they don't block. We'll go with the Shriek. So the Black Mage's Rod pings for 1. Shriek's going to hit for 3. We're going to gain 3. And then we hit for 4 more. They're down to 5. We have 3 unblockable, basically 4. So if they don't kill us here, that's not death. And if we draw any like 1 mana spell, we should definitely win. Yeah, I guess they could have left up Ginger Brute to gain some life, but they didn't do that. Swing for 1. Change the outcasts. I said 1 mana spell, but obviously I meant non-creature spell. Because I could attack with this, which pings for 1, but then they block. I think I equip up, attack for 3, play this, and we have 1 blocker, and we hope we don't die. We just needed to draw anything. But I could have sacked the Hopeless Nightmare. Maybe I should have. Could have sacked the Hopeless Nightmare, but I would have had to find something that dealt 2 for 1 mana, like another Foul Tongue or a Hopeless Nightmare for 1 mana. Could have been tough. I don't know. These can't block anyway, so they're going in. By attacking with this, I would gain 1 life, but I would lose a blocker potentially. No, they would have had to block, but they would have gotten a card off the Percussionist, which I'm trying to avoid. And this Outcast can't even block, so we have 2 damage we can't block. And now they have Metalcraft, so a Galvanic kills us. Another Bushwhacker kills us. Oh, looks like they drew nothing. They're just cracking the Ginger Brute to survive. That's a great sign. Swing with the Percussionist. I'll certainly just take 1. Because they're at 5. I just have 5 unblockable, because I can re-equip this Black Mage's Rod to one of these. Not to mention this can attack for 1, so I actually have 6 unblockable. So now it doesn't matter. Of course, that's when we draw it. Yeah, let's swing with the team. Ping for 1, 4 unblockable, and we have a Mutagenic to ping for 2 and hit for another 4 if we really needed. 2 and then 2, that is. 4 total. All right, that was a close one, but we ended up taking the second match against Red Rally, which is nice. All right, round 3 here. You have 1 drop into 2. I mean, this hand looks really good on the play. Lacerator is a 1 drop, and then it's also a Warrior into a Black Mage's Rod, which is our Wizard, into a Blood Priest for 3, plus the double Mutagenic is damage, it's combat tricks, and it's more damage from the Black Mage's Rod, so like this could be a really fast one, depending on what we're up against. I mean, anything Tron is probably ideal. Maybe if it's Monster Tron and they get to start casting things, we'll be in some trouble, but otherwise it feels like that's probably pretty good for us. Festering Gulch is fine too. That's just more damage. So Rod. So right here I could hit for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't think there's a reason to do it now, but I might just want to do it at some point. They have an island. Keep an eye on Breath Weapon. Yeah, that's always a good call. So they don't have Tron next turn, which is nice. Play a Blood Priest, just see if they have counter magic or anything. I'm not really expecting anything. Some of the Monstertron lists recently have been playing blue, but it could also just be Flickertron or something. We can also Gulch here, and then swing for 4. That's already got him to 10. I could double Mutagenic, put him to 4, but the Breath Weapon comment's very smart, because they could crack this for like a red source or impulse for it. And if they have a Breath Weapon, then Mutagenics can actually keep our guys alive, and that's much more important. So Impulse does make me think Flickertron probably. There's an Urza's Tower. 6 damage on board. Changeling Outcast doesn't do anything. So we have lethal here. I think we just go for it. because I don't really know what they could have. So we're going to do it and hit for 10. All right, perfect. I was just like, maybe they could have something in blue, but it seems unlikely, and I don't want to wait one more turn, because then they could obviously have something. I don't think Flickertron or Blue Monsters run Breath Weapon in the main. They might have Fade Away. I've never seen Fade Away played. Any Blue Monster list, you're right, I haven't seen Breath Weapon in the main. Flickertron, I feel like one Breath Weapon is a staple, because then they have Mystical Tutor, or Mystical Teachings to find it. In my experience, but maybe more recent lists or something don't have them. I'm not sure. Played against Flickertron yesterday with one copy. Yeah, Flickertron. Duress and Extract are the only ones that are maybe... actually, Extract is more Monstertron. We don't need that here. Relic, if they've gotten to Graveyard Flicker shenanigans, we're probably dead anyway. I think Duress is best for Breath Weapon, Fog, Moment's Peace, things like that. Mutagenics are decent. They're really not that necessary because it's not about combat tricks, although it could keep a guy through a Breath Weapon. Oh, the Changeling Outcast. The Unblockable is not really that relevant here. We just want more damage. I think I'll swap those three. See how that goes. No lands. Yeah, this one's okay. We do have a 3-person party, which is good. The question is, do I keep Duress or Tyrant's Choice? Which is just more damage. They've already mulliganed to 5, so I think I want to keep the damage for pressure rather than the interaction. Could be wrong, because obviously like them having a Breath Weapon or something could be their way to make up for the fact that they have very few cards. But that's just like, can they luck into it or find it? So, I don't know. I think this is probably best. Start with a Candy Trail. That is good. 2 to the top. Already finding what they want. I mean, with no blockers, I think Night Market Lookout makes more sense. It doesn't lose us life, and in fact, it gains us life. It still hits for 2. So, yeah, that's what we'll do. They have to have a land because they scry something at the top, so they might be deciding between playing like a Tron land and playing a basic or something with, in case they want to like Impulse. No, they play an Expedition map. They didn't hit a land. They found the Expedition map, but they didn't have a land drop? That seems crazy to keep, but okay. We are just going to play 2 1-drops. It makes the Blood Priest as big as possible. Each of these has the capability of dealing 2 damage a turn, so we're hitting for 2 this turn and 6 next turn, which is pretty good. They do play an island, which they must have scribed that to the top, but I don't know why they wouldn't have kept that and then the map. There's a Prism. So Prism, they could get a Breath Weapon this early, but I don't think we can play around it. We get another Lacerator. I mean, we'll attack for 6. We have them basically dead next turn, assuming they don't get a Breath Weapon. They need to have drawn a land and have the weapon. Or they could just have some fogs for a couple turns, but like these actually get through fog for a little bit of damage. I don't know. I think we play Lacerator and then Blood Priest and just hope they don't have the board wipe. I mean, they're still at 9 even if they did have it, and then maybe I can get the right burn spells to finish them off. But do you think the card pool exists for WotC to do a Pauper Masters if they wanted to? Yeah, I mean, it depends on how they want to do it. I know people have talked about this before, but if I think the way to do Pauper Masters, you still have to have rarity in your booster packs. Assuming it's not just like a set where you buy all. It's not like a deck, right? You don't buy the whole thing. It's a booster product. They're going to crack Candy Trail. So if they need rarities, but if it's Pauper Masters, every card needs to have been a common at some point, right? So they can reprint Lightning Bolt and it's an uncommon, and they can reprint Brainstorm and it's a rare, and I don't know, they can reprint Writhing Chrysalis and it's a mythic or whatever. But it needs to be everything that is playable in Pauper. Or they can do the opposite, and they can do both of these things. They can downshift things in this to common, right? So maybe cards aren't legal in Pauper, but then they become legal because they downshift, the whatever we've been asking for a million years into Pauper, Stranglerootgeist or something. Finally downshift that, and that could be cool too. So they could definitely do those. They won't ever because it's not going to make them enough money. We did get there. We didn't have to worry. They did crack Candy Trail, which kept them alive on board, but we had the Tyrant's Choice, which is nice. So 2-1. Mistaken 69 is rating with a party of 55. Thank you so much for that. We are currently playing some Pauper, and specifically we're playing a bit of a brew, Mono Black Party Burn, which is utilizing, let me get to our deck list real quick, utilizing the Malakir Blood Priest, which enters and deals damage, and you gain life equal to the amount of cards in your party. and a bunch of other cards that are in our party to deal a bunch of damage. So that's what we're doing right now. Thanks for all the raiders hopping in. We have, this hand's okay. 1 drop into 2 drop for 2 damage. Then we have some top end. I think it's okay. We're also talking about Pauper Masters potentially right now. Not that it's probably going to happen. I was assuming with rarity, yeah, it'd be a little weird, but I think that's how they need to do it. I don't think it's profitable enough for them to want it. That's definitely true now. Pauper is a growing format, so maybe it would eventually be big enough, but it seems unlikely. Pauper Masters should be a digital-only product, so it makes sense. I think that would probably make sense. I mean, if Pauper Masters is like their way of making Arena be capable of handling Pauper, like, oh, it's just a way of influxing all the Pauper cards for Arena, that would be cool too. Like, obviously it wouldn't be as impactful for the format as a whole, except for the fact that if Arena is actually able to play it, then you get such a bigger player base, which could be interesting. All right, there's something blue, clearly. Ponder, probably Terror or something like that. I think I'm just going to play the Blood Priest. I could play the Reckoner Raid, and eventually this will become a Rogue, which deals more damage with the Blood Priest. But I think I just want to get the 2-1 down attacking. You could believably get former commons like Rhystic Study and Lotus Petal at Mythic Rare. Exactly, yeah. Not that Rhystic Study actually sees play in Pauper, but absolutely you could reprint that as a Mythic in that set because it is legal. And you could, Lotus Petal could... Being a Mythic seems a little crazy, but being a rare for sure. Pauper Masters would have to be draftable and a fun draft format, not easy, easier to slot in some Pauper stables in a different product. Yeah, that too. Like, it would need to be a draftable product that's fun, and they've done all that stuff, but also trying to get the dust-to-dust reprints and everything that we've been asking for, ideally. All right, they do Thought Scour away 2 Sleeps of the Dead, so they're definitely Terror. We're going to swing for 3. They could have a Spell Pierce or something, or a Force Spike here. We're going to Reckoner Raid, see if they want to do either of those. Well, not Force Spike, but honestly, it feels like a Pauper set would almost want to be Mythicless, which would never fly on paper. Something business. Yeah. Since they created Mythics, they've never gone back, which is, I think, smart. Mythics are sweet, but yes, doing a Mythicless one would be kind of tough, but also, yeah, it probably would be the right call because, like, we don't need Mythic. Like, it's so hard to make a common Mythic, you know? Even the best commons in Pauper, it's like Gutter Snipe and Sneaky Snacker Mythic doesn't really work, you know. Definitely I could see any of those as uncommons or whatever. Writhing Chrysalis, but yeah. Alright, they do Brainstorm, hit an island, get a Serpent down. They're at 13, going to be 12. They could block, take 3 more. Block, they could take 5 more with the Mutagenic. So they go to 7, and then I have Hopeless Nightmare and Tyrant's Choice. Can almost get there. I support the Mythic rarity in general. Here it would just feel weird, yeah, for like Sprout Swarm to be a Mythic. Exactly, even a card as good as that. Even though it absolutely is in terms of limited impact. A hard project to push. It would be a unique experience, hard to test, and fit good archetypes different from regular draft experience. Yeah, it's an interesting thought, but not something I'm expecting to really happen. I think we just swing with the team, and I Mutagenic a guy just to get in for some damage. For 5... That's 6, 7, and then we play this, and then we have enough creatures. I could just wait till I play this, but I feel like they're going to have more guys next turn, which actually makes it worse. Yeah, let's just attack. Block the Blood Priest, and I think we're going to save the Mutagenic as more of a surprise, I guess. We don't really need to do it now. Let's go for the Lacerator and then the Nightmare, which lets him discard a card, but that's fine. So we have 6 damage in hand. If we can get another 3 through... Plus, we have to be able to resolve these, but discard a Snacker. I don't know if that means they're Dimir or if they're just... It looks like they're just mono blue splashing Snacker, probably. There's a Terror and another, so they're probably going to attack with the Serpent, which puts us to 17, which is not quite dead unless they have like a Vapor Snag or something next turn. Blood Priest. Oh, this is going to transform. This hits for 4 if it resolves, but they're definitely going to have a counter spell. So I probably just Tyrant's Choice. Alright, let's attack first with the Changeling Outcast, which is unblockable. And I'm going to Mutagenic Growth it. Oh, wait, no, because that makes us dead to their team. Well, that's fine, because I can chump one of them. I want to Mutagenic here, and if that somehow draws out a counterspell, then I can Blood Priest. But I probably just don't do that. Yeah, let's just hit for 1. And then I'm going to Tyrant's Choice which I assume will get countered because it's 4 damage. But if they want to go to 2, that's probably fine for us too. Okay, they do take it. Down to 2. Play an island. They're going to sleep the dead a creature. The captain, because it's got menace. That makes sense. Swing for 6. We'll take it. Swamp. Alright, so here, I think I just play Blood Priest. They have to use a full counter spell, and if they do, they're tapped out. Then I can just kill them with the Mutagenic on the Outcast. A Mental Note, or they just don't have any, and they're going to desperately look for something. Alright, that's going to kill them then. Perfect. Okay, against Terror, Extract, and Relics. And Mutagenic honestly doesn't do that much, because we can't win the combat with it pretty much ever. And Lacerator just gets swamped by their guy. So probably got one of those. We can keep this. No interaction, but decent curve. I don't know their deck well enough, but is attacking their end Muta better? If they have bounce, it's better to do it that way. You're saying before going for the Blood Priest? Because my thought was the Blood Priest is a creature, and I had a mana for 4 spikes, so the only counter spell that they could have to get rid of it would be a full counter spell, which would use both their mana. Then Mutagenic Growth would kill them, because they'd be fully tapped out. Whereas if I go for the... It probably would have worked about the same, but if I went for the Mutagenic Growth, attack them, they could have like a Dispel for it or something, and then I can just resolve the Blood Priest. So again, I'm probably in a position where I'm winning either way, but it just felt like I don't even need to go to attacks because of that. Yeah, if they have bounce, which they may not play, then they bounce the 1/1 and aren't dead. Yeah, exactly. So if I attack with a Changeling and go for a Mutagenic Growth and they bounce it, which they do sometimes play to address that. Like occasionally they will play some bounce spells. Then I could probably just win with the Blood Priest. But that's kind of why I did it the way I did it, is that there were more things that interacted with the Mutagenic Growth on an attacker that I figured, let's just see if they have the one answer that I know they would need to have for this Blood Priest. And if they have it, then I think the coast is clear. Whereas if they had a weird answer to the attacker that maybe somehow made it so the Blood Priest didn't work, that I kind of wanted to circumvent that. So I'm trying to think of any way they could have, with just 2 mana, like not died there. And I'm having trouble. I think the 2 cards that we had, they just could not counter them both. But yeah, hopefully that explains somewhat why I did what I did. So I can play the Blood Priest here. It pings for 2, and then we can start attacking with more damage. I think I'm going to play the Racer because the Racer's better earlier, and if they counter this, it also isn't as much damage. Oh, they actually have an Annul. Interesting. I guess we have enough enchantments and artifacts. They had 2 cards, not 1. I think they had 2 cards and 2 mana. So, yeah. They Thought Scour. They do hit a bunch of spells, so they have 5. Yep, they go for a Terror immediately. I can extract a Confession on that. Hopefully they don't have like a Spell Pierce, because we're just going to try to kill that. They don't. Okay, here's a Reckoner Raid. See if they have an Annul for that. Gotcha, I was thinking they only had 1. Changes things a little bit. Yeah, exactly. So I don't think either way was wrong. That was the way I decided to do it. They're going to cycle a Lorien. So only 2 spells in hand. Oh, they are playing... Or no, they're probably just playing 1 black spell or black land for a Snacker, I would guess. I don't think it's actually Dimir fully, because they have Sleep of the Dead and stuff like that. That wouldn't make much sense. No second creature, though, is really nice. They probably have a counter spell. We're going to swing for 2 here. So I think I'm just going to play 2 Blood Priests. I could wait until next turn and I'll have a Rogue for them, which would deal more damage. But first of all, I'm already expecting one to get countered here, and then I want to resolve the second one. But also then by having these down, the damage I can deal by attacking will make up for the damage I'm losing by doing that. So by not having the extra Rogue. So I think this makes sense. I kind of assume their last card is like a Snacker because they got the black, but I guess they just wanted a land and might as well get the tap land. So I guess that's not a guarantee. They go for a Brainstorm, which could be really bad. That could find them a bunch of snakes they can play, but ideally not. They play an island and a Murmuring Mystic. That's pretty good. Get another Foul Tongue Shriek. So I can swing with both. They block here. I could double Foul Tongue them for them to take 4, and then 2, they go to 4. But I lose my Blood Priest. I lose all my cards. So it's probably better to wait till next turn, but then they could have Counter Magic up. Also, do they have a Sleep of the Dead? No, not yet. Them going to 4 doesn't quite feel good enough. I think we gotta wait. But depending on what they have here, they could be in a pretty good spot. But they might also be brainstorm locked. Maybe they don't have that great of cards. I don't know. Changeling Outcast. So now I could swing, and after blocks, I could double Foul Tongue for 6 damage, and then we're hitting for 4 if they don't make any birds beforehand. But then we also get to resolve an Outcast. Or I just play Outcast, and the next turn I go for the big attack, and then the Foul Tongues are dealing 4 each. Tough call. If I play Outcasts and they counter it, then they make a bird, which means I'd want to do that post-combat, or if I'm not attacking at all. But if they do counter this, then the Shrieks are going to get worse. I think we go for the attack now. It's a little risky, because we are kind of throwing this guy away, but we do have the potential to just win. So we're going to Foul Tongue Shriek for 3. See if they have any counter spells for that. No. We're going to cast another one. See if they want to counter that. No. And then they take 4. All right. We just won the match. Nice. It was a little risky because they could have cast just like a Mental Note or Brainstorm or something. Made some birds. Blocked. Or if they had counter spells for those, then they could make birds. But I felt like we just had the potential to win. Hopefully they just have a nulls. That would be ideal. So, all right. Well, we got that one. That was nice. 3-1. Going into the last match here. This is a 1-lander, but we do have 4 1-drops. On the draw, we'll give it a try. It's not the best. Start with a Bajuka Bog. We'll start with the Lacerator probably. We get our Swamp. That's good. Yeah, let's go Lacerator. So Bog could obviously be Gardens, hard control deck or something. It could also just be like a Dimir. That was the next thing I was going to say. Dimir control deck. Mid-range deck, whatever you want to call them, like Fairies or Terror. Preordain could still be either. Scry 2 to the bottom. We'll take a damage off of this. Swing for 2. We're gonna... I want to resolve this Black Mage's Rod, so let's get that down. If they are Fairies, maybe getting some 1-drops down would have been better because they get spell stuttered easier, but don't know yet which one of those it is. They're going to Preordain. Hi again. Hello. Introduce my friend to Blue-Green Fog. What a monster. How could you? By introduced, do you mean you played that against them? Alright, well, we can swing for 4 here. Yeah, I thought they might snuff this out, which means I maybe should have played something pre-combat, but they also just take extra damage, so it's not that big of a deal. Lacerator, and I think we're going to play the Outcast Gulch here. Put them down to 11. Yes, they did not expect to weather the storm with Storm Count being at 8. Yeah, I mean, if they aren't familiar with the deck, that's pretty tough. They are Fairies, okay. Some blockers, but currently we have a 1-1 that's unblockable and 2 2/2s, so a 1-1 Fairy's not a big deal. First time playing with the deck as well. Okay. I've played the deck only once for a league. That was a deck donation. It is definitely an interesting one to play. It was a fun deck to play, not going to lie. I had a lot of fun playing it, and then I got bored when I waited for 20 minutes while the games took forever. But there were a couple times in there where I had some fun, for sure. They probably have a cast down or a spell stutter, so I don't think there's a reason to play anything pre-combat or, like, equip up a Black Mage's Rod pre-combat. So I think we're just going to swing, and if they don't want to do anything, then they're going to have to take 5 here, which looks like they are. Okay, so now I could play like an Outcast. If they want to counterspell that, or like spell stutter it, then I get to Okiba to Reckon Raid and Tyrant's Choice, and they go to 1. If they don't, it's just another attacker. Yeah, there's the spell stutter. Reckon Raid, Tyrant's Choice, they go to 1, and we have, well, we literally just have Okiba to Reckon Raid, which is going to kill them on our draw step, or our main phase. So they would have to have like a Mukotai Ambusher or some other way to gain life, which seems tough. They are going to swing with the Fairy Seer. They could have it. There's the Ambusher. They go up to 4. They can replay a Seer, so they're not dead yet. Yeah, because this pings for 1. I can equip this for 2. They'll go back down to 1. Unless I can draw anything that deals damage or any 1-drop, really. Well, 1-drop non-creature. Lacerators go off. Flywheel Racer doesn't quite do it because I can't cast that and equip the Rod. So I could just cast it, but I think I just equip Rod, swing with everything. They have to chump both of these. That does mean they gain 3 again, but they go to 1, back up to 4. It's either that or I leave one of these back to trade, but they still gain the life, and then they get to keep a Sprite. I don't think that's good. I think we're still in a very good spot, but I mean, the Ambusher is, like I said, the only way they could have survived, and It is keeping them alive for a couple turns. They have a Brainstorm. Thing is, if they attack, go to 4, they have 6 damage on the crackback, so they just have to have a way to survive that. If they leave it back to block, it's already lethal, but also if I play any spell, they take 1. So they're going to swing. Then they have an Augur to block. They need something else too. They have the Fairy. No, they could have a Fairy Seer. Dispel doesn't really matter. Vampire Lacerator. This is going to flip. Well, we're going to start with Eraser, ping them for 1. All right, they concede. I don't think they had any way to survive here because they can't block this. Block here, they take 4, which is just lethal, and I don't think there's anything for 1 that would, in their deck probably, that would kill, gain life, or anything like that. But, all right, we take the first game there, which is nice. Against Fairies, so Fumes is probably decent. Trespasser's Curse is okay. Changeling Outcast is okay. Mutagenic's pretty good, winning combat against them. Kind of feel like maybe we just do like a couple Fumes. Or maybe we do... It's so expensive, and they only have a couple... I think maybe we'll try a couple of curses. They're not a deck that plays a million creatures, so I'm not going to do every curse. But I think a couple could be good. Like if we get 1 down early. They play a fair number of creatures, not to mention the ninjutsu means that they bounce creatures and have extra ETBs. And the Changing Outcast, which can't block ninjas and stuff like that, just seems like fine one to cut a couple of, I think. We do get a curse, but only 1 land. We do have 4 1-drops, and we're on the draw. We'll give it a try. I mean, against Fairies is keeping 1-landers is always even more risky because it's just easy for them to spell stutter everything, but why not chance it? Start with the Seer. We'll go for a Lookout. We did not draw a land yet. Swing and just pass. We do get a second land. Swing with the Lookout. Play a Baron more, and I'm not going to play anything. They obviously have a counter spell, probably a Spell Stutter Sprite. And there's no reason to just run out a 1-drop. That doesn't even allow us to cast another 1-drop if that does get countered. So swing with the Seer for 1 damage. Play an island and pass. Okay. Another land is good. We're also just offsetting their damage, so we're taking nothing, and we're hitting them for 2 each turn, which is pretty good. Now I could play a Changing Outcast, and they counter that, and then maybe I resolve double Nightmare. Probably I want like a Black Mage's Rod. We'll go with an Outcast. If they don't counter this, we'll just probably pass. But if they go for the Spell Stutter, because they're so interested in getting that, we'll go for a Rod. Hope there's no Spell Piercer or Null. If they do have it, that's pretty bad. Steel Sabotage. Yeah, okay. Not great then. Could have gone for double Nightmare, which with Steel Sabotage I guess would have been the play. Couldn't even annul one. Cycle Alorian for an Aquifer. Swing for 2. Leave up Counter Magic. Swing with the Lookout. I feel like there's going to be another Spell Stutter, but here's a Nightmare. Just a counter spell. Blood Priest. All right, what's going to be better? Blood Priest or Trespasser's Curse or Hopeless Nightmare? I mean, probably one of the 2 mana ones. So Blood Priest deals 2 and is a 2/1 that can start attacking. Trespasser's Curse, probably have no way to get rid of it. They're going to need to play more creatures to win this game, I think. And it's kind of got some inevitability as well eventually, so I think we just go for the Curse. It's a little strange because like the Blood Priest hits for 2 now and then also attacks, whereas this is like potentially it could be some damage, but I don't know. They do find a Ninja, and it's an Ambusher, so they're going to gain 3, although they do take 1. Spell Stutter back in hand is annoying. Mutagenic Growth is decent. All right, we're going to start with Nightmare, see if they want to Spell Stutter that. If so, then I resolve the Blood Priest and they take 1. And I specifically did this pre-combat because I actually want them kind of to block with a Spell Stutter, and then I get to Mutagenic Growth because then the Spell Stutter I don't have to deal with in the future. Or I could just trade these off, but I probably want the creature. And if they don't block, that's also fine, but alright. I'm not going to use it now just to deal 2. But then I also now have a 2/1 that I can block the Ambusher with, assuming they don't cast it down. Or have an Arms of Adar. Alright, we're going to Mutagenic our Blood Priest, because I have to be able to kill this Ambusher, so it'll survive. We'll lose the Lookout. I kind of want the Lookout, but I have to kill the guy that gains them a bunch of life, unfortunately. We are pretty much out of cards, and I feel like the board state for both of us is about even. To be honest, they're probably in a slightly better spot, because like any Ninja is really good for them. They have a Brainstorm. I don't think I would have used it on the end step here. I know they had a mana, but They could look one card deeper by doing it on their next turn, and they have a bunch of mana. I don't know. What do I know? Bajuka Bog, not a big deal. We don't have any graveyard relevance. They swing for 2. They don't have a ninja. That's something anyway. And they have a Murmuring Mystic, which they thought long and hard about playing. It blocks here, but actually makes them lose a bunch of life as they cast spells, which is very interesting. Unfortunately, with them at 11, I don't think it was a wrong thing to do. We got a bad card. We could hit him for 1 and lose our guy. That's not very good. They would have to just cast a lot of cantrips for us to be able to kill him with the curse. Maybe they cast a few too many and then we're able to finish him off with some spells, but not while we're just drawing a bunch of swamps. They go for a Preordain, makes a bird, drains him for 1. Another Preordain, let's draw 1 to the top, swing for 2, and a Thorn of the Black Rose. I mean, I don't think we're going to get there, but them being at 8, like, theoretically, I don't know, if we get a 4 damage spell and they play 2 more birds and then we Foul Tongue Shriek them and they don't have any counter spells, like, we could maybe get there. They're going to swing for 4, which we'll take. Monarch draws them a card. Kiba Reckon a Raid. We'll cast that. I mean, the interesting thing is even counter spells. Well, I guess not. Well, yeah, spell stutters work too. Counter spells make them take a damage, so basically any spell we cast is at minimum 1 damage. This attacks for 1, 2, 3. They're at 4, but we lose both our guys. Yeah, again, if they have no counter spells for next turn and we draw the perfect card, a Tyrant's Choice probably, we could win. Swing for 4. Monarch draws a card. Akiba Reckon a Raid. Cast that. Pass the turn. They're deciding if they want to cast something on the end step. Pretty sure there's basically no way they can get enough guys to kill us because every guy they make is a damage, so, or like gains us a life, but also is 1 damage, so it shouldn't really make a difference. The Agony Warp to kill the Night Market Lookout. Ugh, that's the one I wanted, obviously. They do take a damage, so they're at 5. This will ping for 1, so they'll be at 4. It's going to hit for 1, so 3. So if I find a way to deal them 3 next turn, and again, they have no counter spells, maybe we can get there. Otherwise, we're dead to birds next turn. Foul Tongue Shriek. These each only hit for 1, so they don't have to counter them. They block, and then it doesn't really matter. Even if they do counter them, they only hit for 1, so they would have to not block. That's not going to happen. All right. It was kind of close, but we're going to lose that one. We got one more game. We're just going to resubmit. 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, 4-1. Here's hoping. We could definitely go for a 4-1. Why not Fumes? We thought about it, but they only have a few creatures that are 1/1s. Obviously some relevant creatures. It's their Spell Stutters and their Fairy Seers and birds from a Mystic. But if they've got enough birds from a Mystic, we've already lost most of the time, so I'm not worried about that. 3 mana is a lot. Obviously Fumes is in the sideboard for a reason, but 3 mana is a lot for what we're usually going to be only killing 1 or 2 of their guys. Obviously against Rally or Elves where it wipes so many creatures and it's a lot more important, I think it's good. But I don't know. I think I'd rather just try to pressure, but you can trade better. What do you mean by that? Play a Lookout. It's also hard for us to, like, Suffocating Fumes in response to a Spell Stutter is especially good if you've cast something else and then they try to Spell Stutter it and then use Fumes. And that costs 4 mana, which is just a lot for us to muster. Any 2/1 can attack over the 1/3s. Yeah, but they only have a couple 1/3s as well. 3 or maybe 4 Augur of Bolas. And I don't, like, that's not it's okay in the moment, but it's not like a great reason to bring it in. Like, oh, our 2/1 can win that combat. Mutagenic Growth already does that, right? And that's why we have them in the deck. Here, I think I'll play a Lacerator. Yeah, it's still 2 damage. It differentiates our creature types for the party. It also just means we're less susceptible to like a Fumes from their side because this is a 2/2 and this is a 1/1. But I also just liked most of our main deck against them, so I didn't feel the need to, like, if I had 7 cards I didn't like, I would have taken out. I would have definitely brought in all the Fumes and all the curses, but I just thought most of it was already good enough. They have a Fairy Seer. So they did tap out, which means I can resolve a Black Mage's Rod. Probably our best thing to resolve. Would love to get a Swamp so I can just deploy another 1-drop and then not get any more lands for the rest of the game. There we go. I also want a Rod first because that means my Blood Priest, assuming I don't lose any creatures, is hitting for the most possible. They might trade here, but actually that means they can't get an ambusher off, which I think is fine. And also I can replace the rogue, so I think we'll just attack with both. We don't want to leave this back anyway. Yeah, they don't want to trade. Stream's lucky. Sometimes. It does feel that way. Rod, and then Reckoner Raid. This is more damage quicker. But if they do get a Fumes, it's worse. I think I want to hedge a little bit against that. And they could have not blocked because they have a Fumes to wipe the 1/1s, or because they have like a Mukotai Ambusher they want to use, which, seeing as they played a tap land, that seems more likely. No, they're just going to leave it back. Okay. Paying for 1. They probably have a counter spell or a spell set or whatever, so there's not really a reason to play anything pre-combat because I don't want them to have the blocker and all this stuff. Yeah, so we'll just go to attacks. Although if we lose this, we lose our wizard. So that's the reason to play things pre-combat, is we might lose something that we want. So I could like play a Night Market Lookout or a Lacerator probably. And then if they spell stutter that, then I can get off the Blood Priest for 4. But then they can block 2 of these this turn, which I guess is worse. Yeah, let's just go to attacks first. There's some merit to both, to doing it either way in this case, but I think we'll just swing here. And if they just like trade this here, it also means if they trade off the Seer, then their spell setter can't catch a Blood Priest, so I might just cast that. And if they counterspell it, then I'll cast a 1-drop, and if they don't and leave up spell stutter, then I can cast a 1-drop. They do try to trade with the Lookout, and they're going to cast down Agony Warp. Okay, sure. So I'll kill the Lacerator, they'll kill this and keep the Seer. Okay, good for them. But we do get to resolve our Blood Priest for 3 still, because I can play one of these first. Probably Lacerator. And we hit for 3, they're at 4. This hits for 1. Let's just play the big guys, I guess. Now we're hoping there's no Arms of Adar, but we always are. They are low enough that we could come back even if there was an Arms of Adar, but obviously it'll be easier if there's not. They go to combat, or are they just pass on the turn? Because if they combat, I feel like they have to have an ambusher. It's the only reason they'd probably attack. No, they're just passing. No land drop is nice. They could have a Fumes, which would be really good. They could wipe our whole board. Well, except for this Reckoner that's about to flip. I mean, I'm still just attacking. There's no way I'm holding back. If they Fumes, they're going to do it at some point anyway. Might as well do it before they get to do all of this. Yep. So they wipe those 2. They could trade if they want, or just take 1. They are going to trade. We'll get our spells down while they're tapped out. Still have a decent board, assuming we don't get... Now if the Arms of Adar... Again, we could draw a Tyrant's Choice or something, but if we don't, it could be trouble. Okay, there's a Brainstorm. Every one of our creatures deals 2, so they have to either gain 3 life, which without an ambusher, or a creature to make ambusher happen seems unlikely, or they need to be able to kill or block 2 creatures. So they could have like Cast Down and a Fairy Seer, something like that. Augur and a Fairy Seer. They play an Aquifer, 2 mana for a Cast Down, but this is 4 damage on them. Actually, it's 5 because we can Black Mage's Rod. Swing for lethal. Well, we ended up with a 4-1 classic. After losing very miserably round 1, I'm pretty happy with a 4-1 against Double Rally. We lost 1, we won 1. Dimir Fairies, Tron, Terror. Yeah, those 5. So that was pretty sweet. 4-1, let's go. Thanks, Ben, for the bits. Nice. Yeah. So that was good. I don't know. I feel like this deck's pretty decent. If we're able to get a 4-1 with it, especially after such a miserable loss, I think there's something to it. Still not perfect. I feel like it struggles against red, both Rally and Mono Red Burn usually. It's got some life gain, but it feels like it maybe needs some more. And of course it suffers from, like, I think it's better than the traditional mono black burn because it has more creatures, which means it can have more sustainable damage, but of course that means that it dies to board wipes more so, which is tough. We could go more into vehicles. I don't know if that's a solution, but I don't know. It's also just so unique. It's a burn deck, but burn deck that is playing some weird vehicles. Mutagenic growth as combat tricks I'm loving. It's obviously not red, which is a big difference. We get to play some really powerful cards like Black Mage's Rod. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of it. Certainly, I need to figure out some more cards to at least try out in it, if not, to perfect the deck, just to keep testing things, because I have just been relying on this same list for a little while, and it's decent, but it has not been perfect. So thanks everyone for hanging out, and I will see you all later.